Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas. I'm Molly Gambhir. Let's get started. The nightmare just got uglier for Benjamin Netanyahu. Donald Trump has stunned the Israeli Prime Minister once again as Donald Trump and Masoud Pezeshkian signed that MOU to end the war and the U.s.-Israel relations sink further. What will Netanyahu's next move be? How far will he go? All this being decoded in just a bit. Also, the show for you tonight, Ukraine has launched a major attack on Russia. Where are things headed and what's the strategy looking like on the two sides? A Gravitas special report on BrahMos getting smaller, faster and more dangerous. All this and more coming up. Donald Trump has stunned Netanyahu yet again. And that long-running nightmare for the Israeli leader just got uglier. Let me start off by showing you these images. That's Donald Trump putting his signature on the Memorandum of Understanding to end the war. Iran's president, Masoud Pezeshkian, signed it as well. And moments before signing that deal, Donald Trump said this was not easy.
This was not easy, I can tell you.
And he then signed that paper, held it up for the guests. Applause followed, the echo of which continues to haunt Netanyahu, the Israeli leader who stands sidelined, isolated, shattered. What will his next move be? And what does the deal mean for the region? The US and the Iranian president signing that 14-point Memorandum of Understanding to extend the ceasefire, including in Lebanon, and reopen the strategically vital Strait of Hormuz. Basically, the crucial waterway is to be reopened for now. The sides have agreed the US will start removing its naval blockade of the Iranian ports, and Iran will allow commercial traffic through the Strait of Hormuz to be restored to pre-war levels. The MOU states there is no charge or toll for commercial vessels to pass through the strait, but for 60 days only. Does peace come with a price tag is the immediate question. The deal sees both sides committing to further talks to reach a final agreement over the next 60 days and includes a $300 billion plan for Iran's reconstruction, as well as the removal of all types of US sanctions against Iran. In fact, Masoud Pezeshkian described the MOU as an opportunity to tackle Iran's economic and political problems, saying it could help to create a different world in Iran and West Asia. All eyes now are on Netanyahu. As of now, he seems defiant. In Lebanon, in fact, Israeli forces launched fresh airstrikes on Thursday morning, once again triggering questions and concern about what lies ahead. Remember, the interim pact signed to end the US-Israeli war with Iran calls for an end to fighting on all fronts, including in Lebanon, and for the parties to ensure the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Lebanon. And behind the scenes as well, Iran seems to be trying very hard. Israeli officials reportedly told Reuters Israel was holding talks with the US over continuing its deployment there. And Trump has delivered a massive jolt to Netanyahu meanwhile. The US president has made a huge U-turn, it seems, saying it would be unfair for Tehran not to have ballistic missiles. Remember, he has previously vowed to obliterate them. And this has been among his stated rationales for attacking Iran in the first place. So make no mistake here, there is no way that the signing of that MOU has put an end to the uncertainty. Far from it. And crucial questions continue to hang in the air over a number of crucial aspects, including that big question, what about Iran's nuclear program? What about that core issue? For now, there have been positive developments coming in from the Strait of Hormuz. The 3 Saudi-flagged supertankers, reportedly carrying 6 million barrels of crude, earlier sailed through the strait on Thursday. This was hours after the deal was signed. Those criticizing the agreement say the terms appear to have strengthened Tehran's hand, and that Trump's interim agreement with Iran appears to be tilted in Tehran's favor. As of now, as part of that 14-point MOU, both sides committing to further talks to reach a final agreement over the next 60 days. And the US president has also threatened to resume attacks and kill Iranian officials if they fail to honor their commitments. And for those criticizing that deal, Donald Trump has a very special message. According to him, those who think he hasn't been tough enough on Tehran were either jealous, bad people, or stupid, quote unquote. What happens next? As of now, the Swiss Foreign Ministry has said that the initial negotiations on implementing the US-Iran MOU were planned to take place in Switzerland on Friday. So as of now, the plan remains for the initial negotiations on the implementation of that agreement. And while this does help with removing a degree of uncertainty, overall, the clouds of uncertainty continue to hover over West Asia. The world already knows what Netanyahu wants. How far will he go is the question. While the deal is a nightmare for the Israeli Prime Minister, will it end that nightmare for West Asia for long? On that note, let's listen to what J.D. Vance is saying right now.
It's going to take a little time before it picks up fully, but that's where we are today. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The MOU, just on the Strait, the MOU guarantees these 60 days of toll-free passage, but after that it has, of course, led to a regional dialogue with Oman and Iran deciding the future governance of the Strait. A senior U.S. official told us yesterday that they expect Iran to push aggressively on this, but also that Gulf states won't allow any kind of tolls. How strenuously will the U.S. fight to keep tolls out of the Strait and keep any fees away from the future Strait and commercial traffic? And are you going to leave it to the Gulf states to kind of fight this battle?
Well, first of all, we believe international waterways should be free of tolls, and that's been our position. That's what you see, of course, in the 60 days of the MOU. And when you say it leaves it open, it doesn't really leave it open, except in the sense that, of course, the final negotiation is going to set the terms of what comes afterwards, right? You said, I think that it's the Omanis and the Iranians, but it's actually the MOU contemplates that the Omanis, the Iranians, and the Gulf Coast Coalition together will figure out a proper security framework for the Straits in the future. And what I mean by that is that we don't ever want this to happen again. Right? That's not about tolling. That's about ensuring that the Straits are never used as a choke point for the global economy ever again. It's frankly not what the Iranians want. It's not what the Omanis want. It's not what the GCC wants either. So what we're going to do, of course, working with our allies in the region, is to ensure that that is reflected in the final deal. And if that's not reflected in the final deal, there's not going to be a final deal. And that is, I keep coming back to this fundamental structural point of this negotiation, which is that we have all the cards. If the Iranians want the benefits of the bargain, they have to give us the things that are necessary to get those benefits. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
We'll do both. Okay. Both you guys. There's one in the white and then one in, orange, I think.
What about the pink?
I'm sorry? Okay. Maybe I'm colorblind. It looks more orange to me. I don't want to have a debate about that. Orange, pinkish. You go first, and then in front of you can go second.
Me first. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. How does the points about granting some immediate waivers on sanctions, especially from the Treasury Department, how does that square with the Iran Nuclear Agreement Review Act? And are you planning on briefing Congress on this portion?
Yeah, so I talked to James Braid, our head of OLA. We do plan to brief Congress very soon. I believe that they got the formal copy of the signed document this morning, and if not, they're going to get it at some point later today. We are planning a briefing. I believe right now the House is out of session, the Senate is in session, though maybe I've reversed that. But we're going to ensure that the team briefs Congress and, of course, answers their questions. We've been doing that informally, of course, talking to a number of people in Congress just over the last week. We'll keep on doing that, and we'll have a formal briefing. I won't say exactly when that will be because it depends a little bit about session schedule. Your point about the sanctions is I'll go back to what I said earlier, which is really the choke point on Iranian oil was never the sanctions. We didn't see that as a major concession to the Iranians. Frankly, the Iranians didn't see that as a concession to them because what prevented them from selling oil was not the sanctions. They were selling plenty of oil without any discount because the sanctions were just fundamentally ineffective at that point. What the sanctions did do is move the Iranian financial system to sort of the shadow banking system. So by lifting the blockade, that's the significant thing that has changed. And by lifting the sanctions, we're actually going to be able to see a little bit where their financial system actually sends money and receives money. That's a real benefit to the American people. And that's really the only thing that has changed by the change in sanctions. Sorry, I forgot that part of the question. No, we don't think so. We actually have an opinion from OLC we feel quite confident about that, Congress does, there are certain things that require congressional approval. There are certain things that don't require congressional approval. We feel quite confident that we can temporarily lift those sanctions without going to Congress and seeking their approval on that.
Apparently, there's been reports coming out of Israel that Iran is already funneling oil money to Hezbollah even before this particular MOU was signed.
All right, so as of now, J.D. Vance communicating that message very clearly as far as the developments are concerned with far-reaching implications, also insisting, he says, that we have all the cards. We will continue to monitor the latest coming in on that front. And for now, we are switching gears. Russia has threatened more strikes on Ukraine after one of Kiev's biggest drone barrages on Moscow hit a major refinery there, wounding 17 people and engulfing the Russian capital in thick black smoke. In fact, all of Moscow's airports were shut for hours, leading to hundreds of flight delays. The repeated attacks raising a major question: why is Russia unable to stop the drones reaching its heartland? Our next report decoding this for you.
The skyline looked like a war film. Flames rising over Moscow region. Smoke covering the skyline. A key Russian energy facility under attack again. Kapotnia refinery in southeast Moscow was hit for the second time this week. This is the moment a drone struck a fuel storage tank, sending its roof flying into the air. Russia's defense ministry says that almost 1,000 drones and 4 Ukrainian cruise missiles were intercepted and destroyed across the country in 24 hours. But clearly, the devastation shows many Ukrainian drones struck their targets. The attack reveals a major chink in Russia's armor. Despite Russia's powerful air defense systems, Ukrainian drones have repeatedly managed to cross hundreds of kilometers and hit strategic locations. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky secured renewed political backing from G7 leaders as Kyiv continues pushing its message that long-range strikes are necessary to weaken Russia's war machine. Ukraine's new generation of drones are changing the battlefield. Some are designed like cruise missiles, flying hundreds of kilometers using satellite navigation and terrain-following routes to avoid detection. Their long range allows Ukraine to hit areas once considered safely beyond the battlefield. In the past, every major Ukrainian attack triggered a furious response from the Kremlin. In late May, Russia unleashed a massive barrage of hypersonic missiles and drones, including the Oreshnik missile, on Ukraine after blaming Kyiv for targeting a college, killing 21 people. Earlier this month, when Ukraine targeted the same Kapotnia oil refinery, Russia had unleashed 70 missiles and 611 drones targeting Kyiv. The latest refinery strike shows a new phase of the war. Ukraine is using drones to take the battlefield closer to Russia's economic and military backbone. For Moscow, the challenge is not just stopping one attack, it is protecting thousands of kilometers of territory from a new type of weapon that is smaller, cheaper, and harder to detect. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
Our next story is from the West Bank. Attacks by the Jewish settlers reportedly have reached a record high in 2026, and now tensions have escalated all over again as they allegedly set fire to 2 mosques in West Bank reportedly. Thick plumes of smoke were seen billowing out of that impacted mosque's window. More than a dozen tires were used by settlers reportedly to set the mosque on fire, as alleged. The burnt rubber left behind a toxic stench. The walls, ceiling, the floors were blackened by smoke and flames. That's not all. Graffiti reading "Revenge" and "Hi from the Hilltop Youth" spray painted in Hebrew reportedly on the walls of that mosque. Hilltop Youth are settlers who are regularly accused of violence towards Palestinians they seek to evict from the West Bank. While confirming the attack on the mosques, Israel's military stated that the suspects fled prior to the arrival of the forces. The locals, meanwhile, recalled waking up post-midnight after hearing the sounds of the explosions inside the mosque. Listen to this.
When we saw the provocative and spiteful graffiti written by this unhinged occupation, or those the settlers, it showed they harbor abnormal hatred, whether against mosques, homes, or all Palestinian people.
And this attack, as alleged, comes just days after a report claimed that the Israeli government is set to pay 657 young Israeli settlers in the West Bank $17 per day to cover food and clothes-related expenses. Close to $1.9 million reportedly will be spent as part of this initiative, supposedly meant to prevent violence against Palestinians. The human cost is immense, to say the least. In this year so far, 55 Palestinians have been killed in settler violence, reportedly, whereas 2,200 others have been displaced. As per the UN, over 1,000 settler attacks resulting in casualties and property damage have been reported in the West Bank since the beginning of 2026, with an average of 6 incidents per day. The pace of settler attacks is higher than any previous year. Earlier this week itself, Israeli security forces used tear gas and stun grenades in an attempt to disperse the Palestinians who were protesting against the newly established settler outpost in the West Bank. In the searing heat, some refugees were seen carrying sofas, gas cylinders, other belongings out of that refugee camp in northern West Bank as they were allowed to move into their homes. But a rude shock hit them as they found most of their houses destroyed or inhabitable, with broken furniture, broken windows, rubble all over the area. The Netanyahu-led government's move to basically approve the expansion of a Jewish school for settlers living in West Bank's Hebron city also came in for huge criticism from the locals.
This decision will make our life much harder. We will not feel safe. It means more violence from settlers and aggression and restrictions from the Israeli military. It means that the services now, electricity and water and planning, it's in the hands of the settlers. And the settlers, they want to make our life harder to force us to leave.
Free, free Palestine! Palestine will never die! Palestine will never die! Free, free! Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
Israel's support for the Jewish settlers in West Bank continues to face ire from different parts of the world as well. For instance, over 100 activists staged a protest in Brussels ahead of the European Council summit, which is being held from June 18 to 19, remember, holding banners of "We will not kneel to occupation" in the backdrop. They basically called upon the European leaders to ban goods imported from the Israeli settlements in West Bank.
Today, we demand the EU Commission enforce their own laws and stop buying stolen goods. Stop buying what Israel steals. We are all watching.
Time now for a Gravitas special report. India's BrahMos missile showed its battlefield power during Operation Sindoor. Now the weapon that changed India's strike capability is preparing for its next evolution. A smaller, faster and more advanced BrahMos could soon redefine India's missile strength. Take a look.
The shadow of Operation Sindoor proved to the world that precision is the ultimate currency of modern conflict. The BrahMos missile system was deployed with devastating efficiency when India retaliated after Pahalgam terror attack. BrahMos destroyed several terror camps and air bases deep inside Pakistan. The world witnessed the birth of an unstoppable tactical force. Named after the fusion of two great rivers, India's Brahmaputra and Russia's Moskova, this weapon system has spent 25 years changing from a single land-based asset into a lethal, multi-domain triad spanning warships, submarines and fighter jets. But now the arena of global warfare is shrinking, and the race for unstoppable speed has just entered a dangerous new phase. New Delhi and Moscow are now actively co-developing a smaller, sleeker, hypersonic variant of the BrahMos missile. Russian Ambassador Denis Alipov confirmed the massive technological leap, stating that the work is underway to develop smaller variants which will further enhance the Indian Armed Forces' multi-domain strike capabilities. By shrinking the airframe and pushing speeds past Mach 5, this new variant will allow standard fighter wings to carry multiple missiles, penetrating the most sophisticated air defense networks. The next generation BrahMos project shows how India's defense cooperation with Russia is moving beyond traditional buying and selling. It reflects a deeper cooperation towards joint development, technology sharing and advanced weapon production. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
The world's shipping map may be heading towards a major reset. The war in Iran and the fears over the closure of the Strait of Hormuz have basically exposed that hard reality. A disruption at just one maritime choke point can have ripple effects through global trade and energy supplies. Against that backdrop, Thailand has revived a major land bridge project that basically aims to create an alternative route to one of the world's busiest shipping corridors, the Malacca Strait. Let's break it down. The proposed logistics corridor will be connecting two new deep sea ports, one in the Gulf of Thailand and the other on the Andaman coast. At its heart will be a 90-kilometer standard gauge railway capable of handling up to 20 million of cargo volume every year. Another meter gauge rail line will link the corridor to Thailand's existing railway network, while multi-lane highways and local roads will support cargo movement. The significance of the project lies in what it seeks to bypass. The strait, stretching roughly 930 kilometers, encompassing countries like Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, is one of the world's most critical maritime choke points. Connecting the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean, it facilitates nearly 40% of global trade and serves as the shortest sea route between East Asia, West Asia, and Europe. The strait also carries a substantial share of the energy imports of major Asian economies. According to an internal Thai government presentation seen by Reuters reportedly, the proposed land bridge could reduce logistics costs by nearly 30% and cut transit times by up to 14 days for cargo moving between southern China and Indian Ocean ports serving South Asia and West Asia. And the Thai government estimates also reportedly suggest that feeder-to-feeder cargo movements between the Gulf of Thailand and the Andaman Sea could be around 10% cheaper and 6 days faster than the comparable routes through Singapore because of the lower congestion. Analysts, however, say the project is perhaps economically ambitious and is unlikely to compete with the Malacca Strait as a global transit route. And one of the key reasons they say that is that around 80% of the container traffic at major Malacca route ports like Singapore is just cargo waiting to transfer to other ships, not for local use as such. And experts say this deep-rooted logistical system will be very hard for other regions to copy. Experts are also saying this land bridge project could instead emerge as a smaller scale strategic corridor and a national security asset, helping Thailand secure local energy routes and boost its Western export capabilities. A Thai government-appointed panel is reportedly reviewing the project and its previous impact assessments, and is expected to also submit its findings before the end of July itself. So Thailand may not be building a replacement for the Malacca Strait, but in an uncertain period of wars, disrupted sea routes, geopolitical uncertainty, Thailand appears to be preparing for a world that can no longer actually afford to depend on a single waterway or a single gateway for global commerce. And before we go on any further, a quick look at what else is lined up for you on the show tonight. We are getting you a detailed report on a major gold heist that could unlock the CIA's darkest secrets. This is coming up next.
The signaling system.
Does China want to take control of the next generation of railways from space? Is that even possible, and is it a foolproof plan? We tell you all that you need to know. All this and more coming up. Nearly a month ago, former CIA senior executive David Rush was arrested in connection with a $40 million gold theft case. And a new report has now raised concerns on how a criminal probe could expose highly sensitive details about America's secret intelligence operations. It's a major concern. And while David Rush received gold bars and foreign currency from CIA, allegedly, from November 2025 to March 2026 for work-related expenses, the U.S. spy agency was unable to ascertain the intended use of those funds. Subsequently, 303 gold bars worth over $40 million US, $2 million US in cash, 35 luxury watches were recovered from his residence by the FBI. And Rush was no normal employee, by the way. He possessed top secret clearance and had access to classified information. As per a new report, he was a senior supervisor in CIA's Science and Technology Division. This unit designs spycraft tools which agents use to intercept conversations, procure photos, clandestine photos, and communicate. According to the report, he operated a highly classified program approved by the US Congress years ago to obtain critical information about American adversaries using large quantities of cash. Rush also held a rank that is CIA's equivalent of an army general. That's not all. The report alleging that he created a fake classified program related to continuity of government operations in case of a catastrophic emergency. Rush allegedly conducted a fake briefing with two colleagues on this program, which he claimed was run jointly with the Pentagon. After convincing them that it required tens of millions of dollars in funding, the money was allegedly transferred to a military contractor who provided the gold bars. Now, what helped the ex-CIA official get away with this is the immediate question. How was this even happening? This was reportedly disguised as a special access program, as a result of which the two others involved were not permitted to discuss it with other employees or supervisors. And this opacity being such that reports suggested that some Air Force officials created a fake classified program last year, falsely asserting that the government had a secret alien program, reportedly. And what's even more baffling as far as this case is concerned is that Rush appears to have fooled America's preeminent spy agency for decades. As per the FBI, he provided false information allegedly about his educational background and also falsely claimed to be a military pilot. While both CIA and the FBI have committed to pursuing justice in accordance with law, this case has put the spotlight on the risks faced when classified programs, covert funding, and court proceedings collide. All eyes now are on whether this court trial will actually uncover details of the CIA's clandestine operations and to what extent. After wrapping up the G7 summit, Prime Minister Modi in Paris for the final leg of that two-nation visit. In Paris, the Prime Minister, in fact, held further bilateral engagements and attended the summit, which is Europe's largest technology and startup event. Along with Prime Minister Modi, the French president was also present. And according to the Ministry of External Affairs, India will have the largest national pavilion at this year's edition. After the event, Prime Minister Modi held a series of high-level meetings with top French business leaders in Paris. Discussions basically focusing on green manufacturing, sustainable infrastructure, and future investment opportunities. And upon his arrival, Prime Minister Modi received a warm welcome from members of the Indian diaspora at the hotel in Paris. He underscored the importance of the India-France partnership for global progress. And earlier, Prime Minister Modi concluded his engagements at the G7 summit. The Prime Minister held a series of bilaterals on the sidelines over the 2 days of the summit and called them productive. The highlight, of course, was his first in-person meeting with the U.S. president in over a year.
Our nations, but it really starts with the two of us.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Friends, thank you. Any questions?
Prime Minister Modi told US President Donald Trump that the safety and security of lakhs of Indian seafarers is of paramount importance to India.
एक्सेलेंसी, आप जानते हैं कि मैरीटाइम ट्रेड की दुनिया में भारत के लाखों सीफेरर्स आज दुनिया के अलग अलग समुद्र में अपनी सेवाएं दे रहे हैं, विश्व की प्रगति में बहुत बड़ा योगदान दे रहे हैं और मैं समझता हूं कि उनकी सुरक्षा भी उतना ही महत्वपूर्ण है। एक्सेलेंसी, समझौते के लिए शांति के प्रयासों में आपने भरपूर प्रयास किया है। मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि समझौते में सीफेरर की सुरक्षा भी सुनिश्चित होगी और उसको प्राथमिकता मिलेगी।
It's a rough profession, there's no question about it, and we work together on it. This has been happening throughout time, but we work together on it. Yeah, certainly. We love all of those people. They're great people.
And Prime Minister Modi also met the Ukrainian president on the sidelines of the G7 summit. The two leaders discussed efforts to restore trade ties and exchanged views on the situation in Ukraine. Later, in a post on X, Prime Minister Modi reiterated India's support for peace in Ukraine. He wrote, I'm quoting, "India will always be on the side of peace, placing the values of humanity above all." On to China, it's reportedly tightening its grip on power and loyalty like never before. Xi Jinping is reportedly not just expanding his political ideology as such, he's also launching an unprecedented crackdown on anyone inside the Communist Party who shows signs of disobedience, superstition, or financial recklessness. In a major political development, China's ruling Communist Party has officially declared a new branch of Xi Jinping's political philosophy as party doctrine. According to reports in Chinese media, the new doctrine, called Xi Jinping Thought on Party Building, basically places strict discipline and complete unity at the center of the Communist Party. During a national conference on party building, Chinese leaders reportedly described it as a historic milestone and say it will guide the party for decades. Just to put this simply, the doctrine stresses one message above all else: absolute loyalty to the party leadership and strong central control as well. Let's just break it down. The new framework calling for rigorous self-governance, tighter organizational discipline, and a relentless fight against corruption. It also seeks to ensure that officials neither have the opportunity nor the desire to engage in corrupt practices. And the timing is significant. China is reportedly expected to witness major leadership changes before the next Communist Party Congress in 2027. Many senior party officials are likely to retire, making loyalty and discipline even more important for Xi Jinping's leadership. But then this ideological push also comes alongside another aggressive campaign. According to a report by the Wall Street Journal, Xi Jinping's anti-corruption drive has evolved into a broader political purge. Communist Party enforcers reportedly punished nearly 1 million people in 2025. That's the highest figure ever recorded. 1 million people. And the crackdown no longer just limited to bribery or embezzlement. According to the WSJ report, Chinese officials are now being punished for actions considered politically unacceptable, including ignoring Xi Jinping's directives, building rival factions, taking on excessive debt, and even consulting mystics and fortune tellers. More than 1 in 6 punished officials reportedly faced action for engaging in superstitious practices. The officially atheist Communist Party prohibits its members from seeking guidance from spiritual gurus, praying to deities, consulting fortune tellers, or following practices like Feng Shui. The message from China is perhaps becoming increasingly clear, hard to miss. In Xi Jinping's China, political loyalty is not merely expected, it is being enforced, and any official who looks for answers outside the Communist Party's ideology risks becoming the next target of the state's disciplinary machinery. In a major setback for the Alternative for Germany, AfD party there, a top court in Bavaria has allowed German intelligence agencies to continue spying on the party. Germany, remember, has adopted strict measures against extremist movements ever since the end of World War II, which led to the collapse of Hitler's Nazi party. Bavaria's highest administrative court has ruled now that the state's domestic intelligence agency can continue to monitor the AfD. The party had alleged, the party had challenged the surveillance order and took its appeal to the state's top court after losing in the lower courts. But the Munich court rejected its plea and said the decision cannot be appealed any further. The court said the legal questions raised by the AfD had already been settled in earlier rulings. Not just that, it also referred to decisions by Germany's Federal Constitutional Court and the Federal Administrative Court, saying those judgments had properly examined both evidence against the party and the concerns related to the freedom of speech. According to the court, certain statements linked to the AfD crossed the limits of acceptable criticism of Germany's constitutional system. These included comments on remigration, alleged defamation of people with migrant backgrounds, and Muslims, as well as rhetoric about overthrowing the government and continued attacks on Germany's democratic order. Bavaria first announced plans to monitor the AfD in 2022. And an initial legal challenge failed in 2024, several German states have taken similar steps, suspecting that the party may seek to undermine the country's constitutional order. The AfD has consistently argued that such surveillance is unjustified. Switching gears, China's high-speed trains already race around the country at incredible speeds. And now it seems China wants to take things a step further. It wants to take control of the next generation of railways from space, it seems. But a satellite-powered railway system also raises a major question. Can it be hacked, and is the plan foolproof? Our next report decoding this for you.
In 2011, China's high-speed rail suffered its deadliest nightmare. 2 trains collided in Wenzhou after a lightning strike disrupted the signaling system, killing 40 people and injuring nearly 200. Probe revealed a lightning strike fried a trackside circuit leading to the crash. Chinese engineers have been racing to find a foolproof solution, how to safeguard the command and control systems from natural calamities. Now, China is planning a major upgrade to its high-speed rail network with a space-based control system that could transform how trains communicate, navigate, and operate. The proposed satellite-linked network would improve communication, positioning accuracy, and real-time monitoring across China's vast rail system, the world's largest high-speed rail network. Beijing hopes the technology will reduce reliance on traditional ground systems, boost efficiency, and support future autonomous trains powered by AI and advanced sensors. But the move also raises security concerns. Experts warn that satellite-connected rail controls could become targets for cyber attacks, potentially disrupting communication, operations, or one of the world's busiest transport networks. As critical infrastructure becomes increasingly digital, railways, power grids, and communication systems are emerging as key cybersecurity battlegrounds. The move also reflects a wider global race to combine space technology, artificial intelligence and infrastructure. Countries are looking at smarter transport systems, but the more connected they become, the bigger the challenge of protecting them.
A 1,000 years of history coming to an end in England. The legendary major oak, one of Europe's oldest, most famous ancient trees, and also a symbol of the Robin Hood story, has died after standing in Sherwood Forest for at least a millennium. The giant oak reportedly failed to produce leaves this year. After enduring a succession of hot and dry summers, experts say prolonged drought and rising temperatures placed enormous stress on the ancient tree. And for centuries, the major oak drew thousands of visitors to that forest. According to local legends, the massive tree once provided shelter to Robin Hood and his band of outlaws in the 13th century. Conservationists say the tree's decline accelerated after Britain's record-breaking heat wave of July 2022, when the temperatures, remember, reached 40 degrees Celsius. And they also point to poor soil health, compacted ground caused by heavy visitor traffic, and the forest's use as a military camp during wartime as factors that weakened the oak.
They go into drought stress, so even a healthy tree would be feeling the pressures of those long, prolonged periods of dry.
If you're craving your favorite ice cream in this sweltering summer heat, in Japan, the rising cost of ice cream has provoked outrage. This in turn prompted a broader crackdown on some of the country's biggest ice cream makers. In a major move, officials from the Japan Fair Trade Commission raided the corporate headquarters of 6 major ice cream firms for allegedly violating the Anti-Monopoly Act, reportedly. And they are suspected of colluding to raise prices of their products way beyond the increase in the cost of raw materials, allegedly. Why is this significant? In the last few years, Japan has been witnessing record high temperatures, with the mercury often topping 40 degrees Celsius in peak summer. Owing to this, the Japanese market for ice cream and frozen snacks hit $4 billion from April 2025 to March 2026. And as per reports, senior executives in the ice cream firms have been accused of holding meetings and exchanging emails, allegedly, to coordinate the timing of the price rise for ice cream products. Reports also indicating that the firms in question unfairly raised prices, allegedly, of popular desserts by 5 to 10% several times over the years, allegedly. While the 6 ice cream firms have agreed reportedly to cooperate with the investigation, this marks the first ever probe into a suspected ice cream-related cartel, as alleged, in the country. What does love feel like to you? That iconic song by Robert Palmer called Addicted to Love, it says, you know you're going to have to face it, you're addicted to love. Whether or not you find yourself addicted to love as such, here's a question. What does love really feel like, and what happens inside your brain when a person is in love? Does it feel like an addiction? What really happens? There is evidence, thanks to brain scans, that might explain this to you, why love could feel like an addiction, perhaps. Brain scans of young lovers have reportedly suggested the first phases of a romance have features overlapping with substance cravings. Researchers at Kyoto University reportedly studied the brains of 51 young men who were in the early stages of a romantic relationship. And what did they find? that seeing or expecting to see a romantic partner activated some of the same brain regions involved in reward, craving, addiction. The research reportedly suggests that in the early stages of romance, the brain basically treats a romantic partner as a uniquely rewarding person and activates neural systems involved in craving and motivation, which helps explain perhaps why falling in love could sometimes feel like a bit of an addiction. Two brain areas were especially active basically when participants anticipated seeing their romantic partner. The part of the brain's reward system, this may explain why people strongly want to spend time with someone they are falling in love with. Also a region linked to urges, cravings, and awareness of internal feelings. Activity in this area was associated with more intrusive thoughts about a partner. And this could maybe explain why people in early love cannot often stop thinking about that other person. Basically, the study suggests that romantic infatuation and addiction may use some of the same brain circuits, which helps explain why early love can feel intense, obsessive, or perhaps even consuming. However, the researchers are not saying that love is a substance addiction as such. The findings provide a biological explanation for common experiences like constantly thinking about someone new, feeling a strong desire to be near them, finding it difficult to focus on other things perhaps, so on and so forth. It's also important to point out here that the study only looked at young men in new heterosexual relationships. So the results may not apply equally to women, older adults, or people in different kinds of relationships. So the next time you find yourself feeling like love is feeling like an addiction, you could perhaps know that this is what might be happening inside your brain. A mother's dream of watching her son play at the World Cup is coming true. The goalkeeper's mother, who has been granted a visa to enter the United States in time for her 40-year-old son's next World Cup match. This goalkeeper emerged as a fan favorite after his stunning performance against Spain. Remember, the 2010 world champions arrived as one of the tournament favorites, and they were expected to, in fact, defeat that tiny nation, but the goalkeeper made 7 saves in a goalless draw with Spain. And this, of course, led him to being a social media sensation pretty much overnight. The 40-year-old gained millions of followers on Instagram. After the match, he revealed that his mother had been unable to secure a visa to travel to the United States and watch him play. Why? He said having her there would mean everything to him. The nation is among 50 countries whose citizens face bonds of up to $15,000 to secure a U.S. visa. The Trump administration last month suspended the requirement for ticket holders from that nation and 4 other World Cup nations. The U.S. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said all fees have been waived and travel arrangements are being made to get her to the next match. In fact, the country will be facing Uruguay in their second match on Sunday.
Mario Semedo, president of Cape Verde's Football Federation, contacted me because he wanted to surprise Vozinha. He was in contact with FIFA, and the federation was also working with FIFA and the relevant US authorities. In the end, the documents were processed, and I think everything is practically ready. We just need to arrive in Praia, and I believe everything will be finalized there.
And while the FIFA World Cup is underway, young footballers in Iran are keeping their focus on the game despite an uncertain regional backdrop. At a football academy in Tehran, in fact, children and teenagers have been taking part in regular practice sessions. As the World Cup plays out across North America, the players' focus remains on the game, even as political developments involving the country continue to make international headlines.
Politics should not interfere in sports, but this has happened. Many believe that the team should not go to the US, but now they are there, and we hope that the team can achieve results and advance from the group stage, because if they win, the country and our children will be very well off.
Right, let's just take a look at these visuals coming in from Paris of the grand reception and the warm welcome that was offered to the Indian leader.
भारत माता की, भारत माता की, भारत माता की, वंदे, नमस्ते, bonjour। ऐसा लग रहा है आप सब छुट्टी के मूड में हैं। साथियों, ये पेरिस शहर लाइट्स का शहर है, ये रंगों का शहर है, यहाँ आर्ट है, आइडियाज हैं और इनोवेशन की प्रेरणा भी है। इस शहर को भारत के अलग अलग राज्यों से आए आप सभी लोग और भी खूबसूरत बनाते हैं, नए नए रंगों से भर देते हैं। कोई तमिल है, कोई पंजाबी है, कोई गुजराती है, तो कोई मराठी है और कोई बंगाली है। भारत के हर कोने का प्रतिनिधित्व यहां दिखाई देता है। साथियों, मैं जब 14 जून को नीस पहुंचा था तो सबसे पहले भारत इनोवेट्स इस कार्यक्रम में शामिल हुआ था। आज जब मैं फ्रांस से वापसी की तैयारी में हूं तो लग रहा है जैसे भारत कनेक्ट्स कार्यक्रम में आ गया हूं। फ्रांस में रहने वाले आप लोगों ने 21वीं सदी के भारत फ्रांस रिश्तों को जिस तरह कनेक्ट किया है वो हमारी स्ट्रैटेजिक पार्टनरशिप की बहुत बड़ी ताकत बन रही है। मैं आप सभी के लिए भारत से 140 करोड़ देशवासियों की शुभकामनाएं लेकर के आया हूं। इस आत्मीय स्वागत के लिए मैं आप सभी का हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। साथियों, आज मैं ऐसे समय में फ्रांस आया हूं जब कुछ ही दिन पहले हमारी सरकार के 12 वर्ष पूरे हुए हैं।